It's a fresh Tepid Takes, y'all. Tepid Takes is the name of the series on my channel where we talk about new beauty releases. The reason that I call it Tepid Takes is because I don't have hot takes. Usually it's not me trying to talk myself out of buying anything, because I'm buying things for use on my channel. I'm buying them to review. So when I say I'm gonna buy that, I'm not buying it for some vanity stash. I'm buying it for this heaving carnivorous thing that takes up an entire room in my house. All that to say, please don't ever try and keep up with my level of consumption of makeup, because I'm not consuming this makeup. I'm reviewing it. I always have to put that disclaimer out there. We're going to be on Makeup on Your Radar and Trend Mood today, and we're going to just scroll through the new releases and chat about them. I'm not totally sure everything that I want to talk about today. I never am, but I do know a few. So let's go ahead and jump in. My brain. Honestly, the intro is the hardest part every single time. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Y'all know what I mean, right? We're gonna do a Tepid Takes now. So the first thing that I want to talk about today, it just got announced 22 hours ago, so not even a full day ago. And this is on Trend Mood, the HyGLAM foundation from Natasha Denona. Natasha Denona. You can do her name like apples and bananas. So Natasha Denona, Natasha Denona, Natasha Denini. Like, it's just a lot of fun. I just like doing her name like that. Either way, Natasha Denona. For a radiant, natural looking complexion with a hydrating formula designed to enhance your skin's glow, infused with hyaluronic acid and squalane, this foundation delivers intense moisture while providing medium buildable coverage that creates a second skin illusion. Its lightweight, breathable texture glides on smoothly for a luminous finish that lasts all day, leaving your complexion refreshed, glowing, beautifully radiant all day in 52 shades. One for every week of the year. Just kidding. So we're gonna talk about the shade range in a second, but I kind of want to talk about Natasha Denona's history with foundations before that, because there was one more recently, I want to say, and I do think I reviewed it. I don't know, but a long time ago there was one called like Foundation X, okay? And I feel like with the exception of her powder foundations, I'm gonna generalize here, it's always dangerous to do so, I do feel like even though she's calling this HyGLAM, and we consider HyGLAM, H-I-G-H glam, to be usually a full beat or like full coverage matte, her foundations historically have always surprised me in a good way for being very like dewy and hydrated looking. The Foundation X, I remember trying it and I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is awesome stuff. I don't remember it particularly like drying down as much as I would like, but I also think that formulas have come a really long way since then. I mean, God, that's talking about like 2018. I think I tried it in 2018. It came out before that even. So I do trust Natasha Denona to make a foundation that when she says it's hydrating, by God, it's hydrating, you know? And on the skin of these models, it looks quite, I mean, the word is wet, okay? Like, it looks wet and I am here for it. That's not for everyone. I know a lot of people are like, run for the hills. I do not want a wet foundation. I do hope that it's kind of like the Patrick Ta, the only product that I've really enjoyed from him recently, his foundation. And I mean, good grief, I always point this out, but like $52 and you couldn't even put the little label on straight, whatever. Either way, that has this funky finish to it where it's like it dries down to the point where like if you were to push like a tissue up against it, it comes out without any makeup on it. There's no like visible makeup on it, but the finish on it is this like almost artificial dewiness that's really, really hydrating on the skin. It's just like nothing I've ever experienced. This looks like that, okay? Even in the swatches, but definitely on the model's skin, it looks wet. And that's great for me being a very dry-skinned individual, especially as we head into winter. I love anything that's going to give me like that appearance initially, because my skin over the course of an hour, the first hour wearing it, is gonna just soak that moisture in. That said, clearly, just initial review out of hand, that's not for everyone. It kind of goes without saying, but I should say it's not for everyone. Same way that's like, they can call something a hydrated matte and it's like still not for me. Let's talk about these 52 shades, because there's something very distinctly different about this swatch image when you look at it, when you're just used to looking at other swatch images for other foundation releases. These colors, like the undertones, very typical of Natasha Denona as we saw through her concealer range, the undertones are really literal. But the thing that I usually complain about when I'm talking about really literal undertones in swatches is that they're too like peach or too yellow or too pink. We definitely have our fair share of like quite peach and quite yellow shades here, but on the whole, these all look to be less saturated, just grayer. right? And that could be the effect of building up this foundation to make a solid swatch on the model's skin, because it might not be a full coverage foundation in and of itself. My takeaway from this is let her cook. Like, there's just something about this range that looks incredibly intentional with these shades that I'm just like, I am withholding judgment. There's a lot, I mean, there's always a lot of balking in the comments from people being like, there's no this shade, there's no that shade, why does it jump around so much, yada yada yada. And like, I'm not saying that Natasha Denona did everything right here, but like, this doesn't look like a normal photo of swatches on a model's arm. And I want to say that there's something different about it in a good way. Like, I want to trust that like there's a method to the madness here, because when you look at her concealer shades, they do the same thing. They're all kind of grouped by undertone and they look incredibly literal. When you see them in the display, you're just like, whoa, that is so gray, that is so pink, that is so peach, that is so green, that is so blue, that is so whatever. And when you get them on the skin, they make sense. And perhaps she's really on to something, you know? So I'm interested to see someone else's take on a shade range that doesn't look like a lot of the stuff that's been coming out lately. It could be a total flop, but as you might expect, of course I'm going to be buying this so that we can find out for ourselves. That's my job. That's why we play the game. So yes, I will absolutely be buying this because I am, at the very least, extremely curious. Another shade range that really stepped up to bat and swung for the fences, okay? This new Haus Labs contour. This is the Precision Sculpt Shaping Balm from Haus Labs, a contour stick that visibly defines and lives with a slim silhouette for quick, easy, and precise application. $30. 12-hour long wear, buttery texture, blends seamlessly for a second skin matte finish. Formulated with 5 skincare actives. I mean, normally I would be like, don't do that. Oh my gosh, I don't want skincare in my makeup. You're putting so little of this on, like, who cares? Someone probably cares, but I don't think I'll care. 9 sculptural shades with artistry undertones. So that's, again, what I want to talk about here. Now, my friend Natalie messaged me about this and she was just like, whoa, these are all really gray. I like gray, and that's like, that might be too gray for me kind of thing. I told her it was the cheerleader effect. And she's like, I'm not familiar with the cheerleader effect. The cheerleader effect is like, you tend to kind of homogenize the appearance of something based on them all being next to each other. But it's like when we break them apart, especially when we look at them on the skin tones they're actually intended for, that's the thing that they did. They swatched all 8 on every skin tone. And of course, the light shades are gonna look gray on a deep skinned model's skin because it's ashy. It's not just that it's the color gray, it's that it's ashy in comparison to their skin tone. So all that to say, I think that like the first 3 are like actually very useful gray taupey tones. Obviously, like that profile shade, that very, very light shade in this is super duper gray, but it's still like, we've got, there's undertones there, right? That is like a green gray. And then the next one is like a blue gray, and the next one is like a beige gray. And then we get into kind of like a cool gray brown that looks just so different on each person's skin tone that it's like you kind of have to judge each one within the context of who it's intended for. We're not talking about blushes. We're not talking about something where it's like everyone should be able to wear every shade ostensibly. It's like, no, these are literally intended as skin tone matches or, you know, skin tone synchronizing shades, whatever. I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep right now. Either way, I think that this is a glorious shade range for a contour stick. Like, this is just really, really cool. And speaking of glorious, Natalie sent me a reel from Gloria where she is trying the 2 deepest shades, and she has very deep skin. That's kind of her thing. And they both work really well on her, and she's just, you know, applauding the shade range in that respect. Because if you've ever watched her content, you know that most ranges don't go deep enough. Like, most of them don't even come close. And there are a lot of people who are really, really pale or have a green or blue undertone where things tend to look kind of too orange or too peach or too pink on them, where a contour automatically either turns into like a bright orange thing or like a bronzer at best, or it's just incredibly dark and hard to blend because of how high contrast it is. Milk Makeup, I'm looking at you. Bottom line, I'm absolutely going to be buying this. I have to try it. I'll probably buy Angle and Sculpt, which I am so fair that me buying the 3rd and 4th shades speaks pretty highly of a contour shade range. Not that it really needs me to speak highly of it, it kind of speaks for itself, but I am really hoping I like the formula. Available August 26th. All right, we've got some blushes from Ciele. Ciele put out liquid blushes a while back, and while I do enjoy them and I think that the colors are lovely, for whatever reason, and this is also feedback that I've received in my comments to corroborate my feelings, the color just doesn't stick around. It fades really quickly, and that's why I don't reach for them. I use a lot of Ciele products. I mean, there's just Ciele sitting around everywhere on my table because I love this stuff. The concealer is fantastic too. Either way, a powder blush is just what the doctor ordered in this respect, because I think that that's going to mean a color that really sticks around. And as usual, Nikki has just done a phenomenal job with these colors. They look beautiful. I love that they just called it Ready. Like, that's what I want. I've always wanted a blush that makes my cheeks look ruddy, and like they just went ahead and named it that. Oh, I can't wait to try it. I can't wait to try it. It's gonna be so pretty. I hope that they're sending me these. I usually get these in PR, and if I don't get them, I will buy them. I mean, duh, like they're beautiful. I really like the look of the component too. Okay, we have a date, which is very soon, for the Loui Vuitton Beauty, which is headed up by Pat McGrath, if you've been keeping up. So yeah, 8/25/2025, and we are going to get Loui Vuitton Beauty, and you know, these are just like little close-ups and stuff, but I'm thrilled to see that. Thrilled to see what's in it. Okay, y'all, popping in here because we have gotten a whole bunch of new information since I recorded that video. So, recorded it yesterday, and this morning, today, Tuesday, hopefully the day you're getting this video, but I don't know. There's been a lot going on for me. I'm sorry that the videos have been kind of sparse. Either way, today, Business of Beauty posted, Loui Vuitton tests the limits of luxury beauty with $160 lipsticks. I knew we were gonna be dealing with luxury price points, but this is surprising to pretty much everyone involved. On Tuesday, fashion house Loui Vuitton unveiled its modern debut makeup collection, La Beauté Loui Vuitton, designed in partnership with the famed makeup artist Pat McGrath, originally teased in March. The range includes 55 lipsticks and 10 lip balms at $160 each, and 8 eyeshadow palettes priced at $250. By the way, that is double Hermes. The line will launch on August 20th in China, followed by a worldwide digital pre-launch on August 25th, and it will be available from August 29th online and in select Loui Vuitton stores globally. The range has all the trappings of luxury, incorporating elements of the fashion house's monogram and damier motifs in packaging created by the industrial designer Konstantin Gurchik, known for his conceptual furniture pieces. Loui Vuitton's choice to launch the products at such a premium price represents something of a divergence from the traditional designer beauty playbook. Historically, while still pricier than their mass or masstige counterparts, products from the likes of Chanel or YSL Beauté are priced at a more accessible level than their leather goods or fashion lines. A standard Dior lipstick, for example, is around $47. Many premium beauty brands are finding it harder to grow their sales as price-sensitive customers trade down to cheaper alternatives or reduce their purchase frequency. With a price tag that will deter many customers, Loui Vuitton is more able to focus on what it clearly identifies as its core customer, the ultra wealthy. I want to start by saying that there is a video that I really enjoyed. I've mentioned it before, and I posted it on my Instagram stories this morning when this news came out. This is a video by Bliss Foster. Bliss Foster is the name of the channel, but it's him and his wife, who are both independent fashion critics, and they are really, really well versed and passionate in it, but you know, not uncritical, but they're also big fans. You know, they're not trying to take down brands or anything like that. And there is an amazing video called The Imminent Death of Luxury. In it, Bliss Foster talks about what we define luxury as, right? What defines luxury in terms of fashion and couture and things like that? His argument was that the difference between a luxury fashion house and other places that make clothes is that they clearly have like more money to spend and more time to spend on each individual garment, things like that. What are they doing with that money to make something more luxurious? Are they choosing to put money into preserving artisanal means of manufacturing and having couturiers make things by hand and hand beating and things like that? That could really be worth your money. Is it something that's a completely one-of-a-kind art piece because something was like burned, for example, or you know, it's like a performance art thing or something where it's very coveted and there are very few of something? Or is it just something that's like wildly high quality, you know, like they're doing the absolute best they can to make something as immaculately tailored or out of the greatest materials that they possibly can. Those are the kinds of things that either a typical luxury customer or an aspirational luxury customer typically spends their money on. They're like, I'm trading my money for something that's going to translate to both quality and the experience that I'm looking for. I should say, if you're new here, I love luxury. I always am happy to like trade my money for a luxury experience if I can afford it. And especially with makeup, because makeup is, I mean, typically, like the article said, less expensive to enjoy a luxury experience than buying a Chanel bag. I own a lot of Chanel makeup. I do not own a Chanel bag. All of the Chanel makeup that I own does not add up to how much a Chanel bag would be. And what that video made me really think was that makeup can never rise to that level of luxury. It can never be artisanal in that sense. You could never make the argument that there was some kind of process past something like Surratt, you know, where it's like they have this like proprietary slurry that's going to make the most gorgeous texture on the skin, whatever. Sure, fantastic. It's really expensive. And I think that you know, you could argue that it's worth it for the sake of the performance. Like, it's very, very good makeup. But past a certain point, you realize that you are paying the paychecks of Pat McGrath and Konstantin Kurchik, and maybe you could make the argument that their brilliance and experience deserves that paycheck, then you should be able to sell more makeup. Right now, this is giving let them eat cake. I did not know I had an upper limit of how much I was going to be willing to spend on a single makeup item. I didn't know, because it hadn't happened to me yet. I mean, obviously everyone has one. Everyone has an upper limit somewhere. And there are a lot of people for whom it's at the drugstore, you know, or it's right in the middle of prestige or whatever. It's just kind of like, I'm not going to spend more than X amount of money on that because I don't deem it to be worth it to me. For me, I'm willing to pay for packaging. I got blessed and cursed with this like magpie thing where I'm just like, it's heavy and it's gold and it makes me feel special. And I'm willing to trade my money for that. And like, I don't disagree with people who are like, that's stupid. I just care about the formula in the package. I think that everyone is entitled to those feelings, you know? We are who we are. And if you want to spend $250 on a Louis Vuitton eyeshadow palette and that's worth it to you, go off. I realized like I hit my limit. The pipeline for how I interact with makeup is I look at something and I go, is that something I'm interested in as like a makeup consumer, not just a makeup reviewer? Do I care if that's good and whether it's like quote unquote worth my money? I already know looking at it that 4 eyeshadows are not worth $250. I don't need to touch them to find out. I don't need to touch that component to find out whether that piece of makeup is worth $250 because it's not. Okay, $250, there are just so many other things. Like, you have to think about what you would rather spend $250 of slush fund on, because God, please don't spend your last $250 of like, you know, actual money that you really need on a Louis Vuitton freaking eyeshadow quad, okay? It's stupid. Then when I decide whether I want that, I think, oh, I should review that for people, and then I have to tell you whether I think it's worth your money. Let me tell you, I am just not wealthy enough to relate to that customer. I have been priced out of being able to relate to my audience at a $250 eyeshadow quad. I can't sit here and say, I think that that's worth someone's money, because I don't know anyone that rich, okay? I don't know anyone that isn't like someone who's writing off their purchases, you know, like a makeup artist or something like that. If you're writing off your makeup stash, fine. And there will probably be plenty of people who are willing to review these, but I stake my reputation on that pipeline, on the logic that goes into the items that I choose to review on my channel, because I know at the end of the day, I'm going to have to face y'all. You are who I'm accountable to. And if you really want me to do this, if y'all make a really good case for it, okay, you know what I mean? That's why we play the game. But like, you'd really have to give me a good reason that you need my personal like stamp of approval or otherwise on it, because I truly believe that like, even if I were to say this is good, I cannot relate to someone who would spend $250 on it. And so I cannot in any kind of good conscience tell you that it's worth $250. And even if I said that it was good, I would fear that someone would think that that was an endorsement from me saying that you should spend $250 on an eyeshadow quad, which, by the way, the color stories look like Hourglass palettes. Honestly, I am more interested in these. I spent my own money on them at $80 a piece. I'm more interested in that from a color standpoint than I am in the quads that she has on offer. Lipsticks as well. I get it. that's a thing that you can pull out of your bag and it's something it can be a status item, sure. But I personally, I find that most luxury lipsticks are just so over fragranced. I guarantee this one's gonna stink. I mean, Givenchy, Prada, Dior, Gucci, like they all have so much fragrance in them because they're trying not to get duped, essentially. It's like that's their authenticity, is their fragrance. But I don't want it. I don't want something that's super fragranced on my lips, period. I don't really wear lipstick and I don't give a crap about an $160 lip balm. $160 lip balm. $160 lip balm? Y'all are out of your minds. A lot of the comments did communicate my thoughts, and this is so personal, but like if I saw someone using one of these items, I would not think that's aspirational. I wouldn't think, oh wow, they're so classy and they are a person of taste and that is why they spent the money on that item. I would look at them and think, they saw you coming, as my mother would say. You have the word sucker written across your forehead. Because unlike other luxury items, makeup can only rise to a certain point in terms of quality to ever justify a price point like that, and there's just no way. Plus, I mean, look at the components. I think that Lisa Eldridge is doing something way more special with her components than that. She's not charging that much for them, nowhere near it. And the compacts are plastic. I mean, they might be metal and plastic, but still. So no, I'm not gonna be buying these, sorry. Not sorry. Oh, okay, yeah, so Glossier is putting out a new liquid highlighter. I am sure that this is similar to their old like liquid bronzer that they did, maybe combined with the old liquid eyeshadow that they did. Glossier just has a very branded feel to their stuff. I'm sure it's easy to use, it's probably nice. It really does look just kind of like a combination of the, what was it called? I think the bronzer might have been called Sun Paint, and then Lid Star. It looks like Sun Paint and Lid Star together, all in one. Either way, the issue that I take with this is the packaging. The packaging, to me, looks exactly like when you take a Kierweiss bottle, which Kierweiss has reusable packaging, like permanent packaging, and then like they have replacement parts for them. Y'all, I'm telling you, I don't have enough sleep and I have not had enough coffee. It looks like the factory cap when you take the metal off of the Kierweiss. So it looks like a mistake to me. They just look like little lab samples to me. I won't be buying that. I don't need to know. I don't need to know, you know, their bronzer and the cloud paint was really, really cool, but I don't need to know about that. This I am excited about, and I do not know when we're going to get it, but y'all know how much I love the YSL Couture Mini Clutch eyeshadows. Now we've got a YSL All Hours Couture Face Palette, a blush and highlighter palette. It looks so much more useful than something that you might get from like Chanel, although it does look a bit like they have tried to please everyone in one thing, which means that no one will be completely happy with what they get, because they did stick that gold right on a pale model's cheek and it looks like it doesn't belong on her, but that is a gold highlight. That's not a bronzer or something like that. It really does belong on someone else. And so it's like, I wish that they would have done like quads and put out 3 of them, not 6 pans and put out 1. Includes 3 blushes and 3 highlighters inspired by the beauty of the desert with a velvety, soft, delicately shimmering powder formulas that are buildable with nourishing ingredients. So yeah, I don't know whether these are going to be colors that already exist elsewhere, like that you'd be able to get in a pan on their own. So we will just have to see. We'll just have to see, but I would like to buy it. It's just not the US yet. That's why. Okay, so I guess that the trend spotters told everybody that we're into liquid highlighter. So we have a new one from MAC, unless this is a reformulation or a rebottling of it, but it says New Glow MAC Skin Finish Light Struck Liquid Highlighter reflects light and refines the look of skin from every angle. This good for skin formula features an innovative blend of 85% hydrating skincare ingredients, including moisturizing and plumping blend of glycerin and squalane, along with skin conditioning coffee seed extract. The only thing that I kind of take issue with here is that I wish that they had made it in this formula. This is the Strobe Beam Liquid Blush, and as you get into the really fair shades in this, the light shades in this, they become highlighters and they're gorgeous. They're really beautiful. They have a glycerin finish to them, but they dry all the way down. And I'm sure that this is high performing, but it also looks like it's going to be, yes, it's quite glittery. I much prefer the light colors of the liquid blush. This is just a fantastic formula, and I would love to see them just expand that part of the shade range in this formula, not this. I don't think I'm gonna be buying that from MAC. Oh, you did not. Y'all, this is like a little bit of trauma for me. Truly, truly. Like, you know, as traumatic as makeup can be. But let me tell you a little story. This is about the new Translucent Hydrating Setting Spray Ultra Blur from Laura Mercier. Now, I do like the idea of that cap, although it looks like the sprayer from the Living Proof dry shampoo that failed and failed and failed. They finally fixed it, but it does look like you might get like a dud. I don't want to cast aspersions here, but I'm personally scarred by that spray nozzle. I happen to really like, woo! I happen to really like the new one from Pat McGrath that just flew across the room. It's a day. I've got a pernicious case of the Mondays. The issue here is that I am scarred by Laura Mercier's previous attempts at a setting mist. So when I did my first collab with, was it my first one? It doesn't really matter. I collabed with Finding Ferdinand on my own blush line, and I was doing my makeup for my photo shoot so that I could actually model the products. We could take photos of the products on my skin, and I went to set my makeup with MAC Fix Plus, except the sprayer had broken on a bottle of the Laura Mercier setting mist previous to that, and I had poured it into an old bottle of MAC Fix Plus. You see where this is going, which wouldn't be that big of a deal if the Laura Mercier setting mist had been good. But the problem is it was not just bad, it was awful. It was awful. It was truly, and I think it still exists, it's truly hairspray, and it will make your makeup freeze and wrinkle, like crinkle when you move your face. Like it's literally just Stronghold hairspray. And I sprayed that all over my face. I had to clean my face and start over, and New had to go to her apartment and get a bottle of all-nighter for me. So like it was kind of dire. It almost ruined my day. So I don't know. I think that it is my job at the end of the day to try a Laura Mercier setting mist, and Lord knows they send me PR constantly and it's never the new thing. It's the same thing Bare Minerals does, where I'm just like, where's the new thing? That's what PR is supposed to be, not just some kind of random old product. So maybe they'll send me this. I don't know. When they do send me things, they tend to be pretty late, so I'll probably buy this regardless. Let's see, coming soon to their website and retailers as of July 31st, so it's probably already out. Yeah, hydrating setting mist ultra blur, microfine continuous mist, no propellants or gases, non-aerosol and alcohol free. I'll try it. I'll take one for the team. That's literally, again, that's my job, but I have my hackles up. My hopes are not high. I did already buy this. This is the new Mary Phillips line. I didn't get all of it. I got the underpainting palette to the tune of $64. So Mary Phillips is a makeup artist, and she's coming out with a line, and it is at Sephora. This is a 5-pan palette that, you know, very much obviously embraces the underpainting technique. We will give it the old college try. I did buy the fairest shade in this. I don't think the blush was available yet. I think when the blush is available, I will buy that. But I take deep issue with the naming of the lipstick because they called it a lip ciggy. First of all, I am so tired of trying to normalize cigarettes. I'm so over it. Cigarettes, like, say what you want, be like, I like smoking, whatever. Cigarettes smell terrible, okay? They smell horrible, and like I don't like being around it. I grew up with everyone in my family smoking, and it's just gross to me. I don't like this resurgence and the glamorization of it, especially in my adjacence. I'm real close to New York, and in New York, I mean, it's become cool again to smoke, and it's just like, I can't, y'all. I can't. Don't complain about aging poorly if you're smoking cigarettes. Like, you're pouring money in one hole and money in another hole. That's all you're doing. It's just like, why? Why would you do both? Just accept the fact that you're gonna age poorly if you're gonna be sucking on cigarettes. Spoken as a mom. I can't. And besides that, ciggy? Ciggy? It sounds so hard, like it's trying to be cool. It's a ciggy. I will not buy that lipstick because of the name. I don't even want to try it because I'm not going to be out here talking about a lip ciggy. Mary Phillips. Gross. It just makes me feel icky. I want to wash my hands. I like good smells. Oh, should we talk about the Urban Decay drama with the all-nighter spray? So Urban Decay pulled the plug on their partnership, their long-time partnership with Skindinavia. Skindinavia has been the formulator behind Urban Decay's All-Nighter forever. It's always been a Skindinavia spray. And the whole thing is that they broke it off and Skindinavia kept the formula. Urban Decay reformulated it, just took out the cooling effect. I will say that Pat McGrath spray that I just accidentally chucked across the room also has a cooling effect. It's quite lovely. I enjoy it very much and I really like the sprayer. But the other criticism that I've heard is that Skindinavia is charging so much money for it now. So let me see. So All-Nighter is $34. The Skindinavia spray is on sale right now, but it would typically be $39. But it's $29 on Amazon. I don't think that that's necessarily like a huge price gouge. The thing about Skindinavia that they're making a really big deal about when the ending of the partnership was announced is that it was taking away a lot of the business from them as a small business, which is clearly true. I wanted to know what the net worth is of Skindinavia. It says that their annual revenue is estimated, because it's privately owned, at less than $5 million a year. For a company that's been around for that long and has been partnering with Urban Decay, I think that that's probably an enormous part of their business, and that probably offended them and also scares the hell out of them. So pretty uncool. I would say that if you can afford to do so, continue buying the setting mist from Skindinavia and not from Urban Decay. But the All-Nighter still probably works exactly the same way. It just doesn't have a cooling effect anymore, is my understanding. Oh, okay, so I bought these. I bought the two new Urban Decay Naked Shaped palettes. I was really hoping for boredom. I was hoping for really good, comfortable boredom, and they're just lousy. I will give y'all a true like application and review on them at some point if you want, but they're pretty underwhelming, which I think you could have learned from the comments. But again, that's why I play the game. I was hoping to be pleasantly surprised. They're just convoluted, unfortunately. Y'all, is anyone else's Discover page on Instagram just an absolute dumpster fire? Like, it's just slop. Like, I can't even look at it because it will distract me so much from what it is that I was about to search. Makeup on, like, my ADHD, I have to like say what I'm about to search over and over and over again in order to like remember what I'm doing, because it is like meant to detour you. It is, and in the worst way possible, just towards idiotic crap. I don't know if y'all's Discover pages look like that, but mine looks awful. It's awful. It's horrible. It's just like people making fun of the way celebrities look. I don't Google that stuff. It's like a bunch of AI slop. I don't look for that stuff. Dark. I don't know. Ugh. It's not, I don't know why I'm in that algorithm. Fascinating. You know, it might be time for me to try Made by Mitchell. I think he's a YouTuber. I think he's a creator like for a long time, and he really seems to have a point of view on color. I would be interested to see how the formulas perform, because he repeatedly, just over and over again, shows up on deep-skinned creators' Instagrams for me, where they're just saying like, wow, someone finally did it. Someone finally made the colors that are right for my skin kind of thing. And he seems to really put in the work, not just on inclusivity, you know, it's not just kind of like blanket inclusivity. It's like true consideration and nuances to these colors, and like those palettes look like Janessa Myrick's Redux. Like they're beautiful. So I think it might be time for that. And they're at Ulta. I had no idea. Okay. This also might be the time for me to start trying PUR. Is PUR problematic? I mean, everybody's problematic. Everything's problematic. But did PUR have some reason that they're problematic at some point? I don't know. Either way, 4-in-1 Skin Tint Mineral Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 50. Say goodbye to greasy, breakout prone sunscreens. Discover PUR's serious multitasking 4-in-1 Skin Tint Mineral Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 50 replaces sunscreen, skincare, and foundation. They came out and said it. Okay, and PUR is known for their, I think it's called Love Your Selfie foundation, for having 100 shades. So the fact that they are coming out with a sunscreen that apparently has 8 shades, it would seem that they have tried to do what many have deemed the impossible, which is make a sunscreen that is a skin tone for a skin tone range that actually we can build to the point that it functions as a sunscreen. and it isn't just a suggestion of sunscreen in your makeup. Like they're like, this replaces your sunscreen. So that is a gauntlet. That is a high bar for a foundation to meet. So I will be interested to see. All right, home stretch here, y'all. Soft Services has come out with a new buffing bar that is half as scrubby as the original ones. The original ones, the blue ones, and the green banana scent. I always caution people. I love them for my KP because they will, I mean, you can hurt yourself with them. I'm like, keep the bar wet. Don't do anything crazy. I use them also to gently scrub off any of a remaining like temporary tattoo on my child. Like they're not kidding around. These only one color of the orange in the swirl has the scrubby particles in it. And the fragrance is Affogato L'Orange. I personally I haven't gotten them wet yet, but I have 3 of them. I have 2 big ones and 1 little miniature one that they gave me. It's so cute. But I don't smell the coffee yet. We'll see if I smell the coffee when I get it wet. But right now it just smells like delicious, like creamsicle. It's fantastic. So I haven't used these yet, but I do have them. And for anyone who has been listening to me talk about my scrubby bars and been like, yeah, but what if I need something that like doesn't take like the, you know, first 3 layers of skin off and give me a 3rd degree burn? It doesn't do that, but I love how scrubby they are. Maybe this would be for you, you know? And also the scent is delightful. Yeah, y'all, I have scrolled all the way back and I think that that's really it. If there are any other products that y'all want to talk about, feel free to ask about them in the comments. I'd love to know if there's anything coming up that you are excited about. But I hope y'all enjoyed this, and if you did, please give the video a thumbs up. If you are new here, please subscribe while you're here if you have not already. I will put a video up here that I think that you will enjoy if you liked this one. Thank you all so much for being here and for hanging out with me today. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.